other two for the rest of it. However, I'll still make a brave attempt to bring something new to your table. Coming from Ericsson, who's classically known as building telecom infrastructure and network, transmission switches, that's right, thank you. Why am I talking about IT? And I'll just give you a brief small video to show why I'm talking about IT today. What we are envisioning as the future of the world, and many of our speakers already have said that, is a connected world. We talked about devices, we talked about open platforms, we talked about cloud, we talked about reaching out to services where, you know, the lines of IT networks and other systems are blurring. So what we think is the connected world or the networked society is when a person connects, their world changes. With everything connected, our world changes. So coming to that, let me just, it's not a very fantastic video, it's just to show what we are talking about.
The water volume in my shower is based on the city's consumption patterns. So it's automatically recycled within each building's filtration system, and all excess water is traded back onto the city marketplace.
My coffee machine talks to my alarm clock. My fridge orders milk before I run out. And my online food store in the virtual mall syncs with my shopping list, fridge, and others who live in my house.
Small windows, they have these little invisible solar panels that generates a surplus of energy each month, and I automatically give that away to charity.
My hydrogen car drives itself. It's connected to both the traffic system and all the other cars on it, effectively ending all traffic jams and accidents.
My food comes from enormous urban farms that soar 50 stories into the sky. Each plant has its own wireless sensor that communicates needs in terms of water, lighting, and temperature.
All the food I produce is logged via an app to the distributors in my area. All food is accounted for and sold. Nothing is wasted.
You know what's great? My phone can identify an exact product, order it, and have it delivered within a few hours.
My virtual doctor can diagnose most injuries remotely and then automatically prescribe treatments and remedies.
My app can translate languages in real time, so it eliminates all language barriers.
My 70-year-old grandfather has daily face-to-face conversations through a simple interface with me, his friends, and with my family, even though we're miles apart from each other.
Before, I had less time to connect with people close to me, and now, thanks to the time saved by new tools like connectivity, I can eat dinner with my kids, watch old films with my wife, and play soccer with my friends.
My park is lit by artificial sunlight. The trees have, you know, like tiny wireless streams of fiber running through their trunks that sort of organically adapt like nature, which give coverage to where it's needed the most.
All of the stories you've just heard are based on Ericsson employees' visions of the network society in 2030. What's yours?
Okay, so what's network society? We spoke about, as you can see, I think the video amply spoke about it. We are envisioning a society where all our intelligence would be embedded either in some sort of a device or a sensor that would be connected to multiple other sensors and devices and homes and hospitals and cars and your personal choice of infotainment, all going to be integrated, and you as a person will be driven by this entire part of this network society. So now coming to what does it actually mean for us? This one is okay. So we are looking at pace of change. The pace of change is actually places, people and connected things. So it started with being geographically dispersed. Then it came to me as an individual. Now it is actually connected things. I as an individual at any given point will be owning maybe 20 devices, maybe 100 devices, depending on the kind of lifestyle I lead. How do you connect all this and make sense of that information and actually also use that information for your benefit and for the society? I'm going to kind of skip through these. I'll just point out, so digital lifestyle drives the demand, ICT transforming industries, data brings new business models, customer experience in focus, and superior network performance wins. I'm very glad that each of my panelists have addressed all of these points in their in what they had said. So at least we are aligned in that thought process. So I'm really having trouble navigating this. So what is the compass point? So the compass point is again, basically all of these are the services and the industries, and what are we doing? We are creating, we are learning, we are living our culture, we are mobile, we transact, we function, we exchange, and our wellness. So all we have talked about. There are certain things in IT and networks that needs to be, so the role that we used to have earlier as either IT service provider or network provider or aggregator, content aggregators are slightly changing today. So if we rethink the roles, earlier it used to be the applications and the services, there used to be systems and platforms, there used to be networks. Then we had the network developer, we had the service enabler and the service creator. What do we see today? We see today tools for innovation and growth. It's no more just services and application. We see the infrastructure, the elastic infrastructure that Sumit referred to, of standard cloud infrastructure. Then we have connectivity and communication. Connectivity no more is your PSTN or your T1s or E1s or your SONET or your SDH or your 4G. It could be anything. It would be a ubiquitous world where you're moving from one type of network and then as soon as you enter your home, it is a different type of a network. So, and then we would have all of these people coordinating and collaborating to create this, to come to this network society, to create the solutions required for the network society. So what are we talking about? We are talking about devices and virtual home. We are talking about cloud evolution. We are talking about M2M service enablement platform. We are talking about integrated IP and managed service core networks and big data analytics. So these are the 5 things or the foundations that on which the technology, I wouldn't say would emerge, it is already emerging, it's already there. Now if I kind of take a little more time to delve into each of these areas, I can just kind of show what we are talking about. I brought an example, and fortunately it again kind of was talked about, but it's the connected vehicle cloud. This is something Ericsson has already built, and we have Volvo and Mercedes on this cloud already today. So the connected vehicle cloud is what is it? It is starting from the manufacturer who needs to track their cars that are coming out of their shops. They can use it for easy recall, they can use it for the software upgrades, they can use it for any sort of connectivity with the owner. Then we come to the person who is actually the owner of the car, who has to use multiple types of applications. It can range from traffic management systems to his infotainment needs, to his navigation, to his theft prevention, and even Other ICT solutions like can my car become also the interface to my insurance agent, and it automatically pays for my insurance as well, or carries my maintenance record, and the factory already knows that when my maintenance is due, or a particular, or has a serial number of all the parts that is in that particular car, and when is it up for warranty. So again, the imagination can run wild, and every single area of our experience or our needs can be catered through one solution, which can be this cloud-based solution with a flexible, as Sumit also said, an API system where you keep on developing apps on top of it, and also acts as an M2M or a device management platform which can connect to multiple types of device, including when you're entering your home, your garage door, and anything else if you want to integrate it with. So key facts, digital lifestyle. So devices are becoming very important for us as our lifestyle is changing towards digitization, starting from wearing a mobile today is even, I mean, I'm not even going to mention mobile as a digital device anymore, because we know it. We use it for everything. At this time, it has replaced our alarm clock, it has replaced our camera, it has replaced our meeting scheduler, it has replaced our mails, it has virtually replaced everything. Now what else? We have sensor. We can have sensors in our home, we can have sensors in our fridge, in our oven, in our microwave, even wearable clothing somebody mentioned this morning, and wristband which monitors our health. So devices are going to be the play, and this device-to-device connectivity is what is going to be emerging as, and the back end that supports this device-to-device connectivity for our new generation of lifestyle. So transforming the cloud, again, network-enabled cloud and service provider SDN, service delivery network. You need a very elastic cloud. Everything would be virtual, be it storage, be it your need for space, be it connectivity, be it even the network connectivity. Not only I'm talking about the storage facets of it. So an elastic cloud which will enable your business in agility. The IMS platform, again, you need if today we are going in a fashion which allowed us only, as we spoke about, our mobile phone, if today wants to be the integrated device for all our communication needs, it cannot just be connected to wireless. We need a core network that will be again ubiquitous. So we need an IMS platform to support that. Coming to the M2M platform, again, we need a device management platform that would have the agility and the flexibility to be able to allow developers and content providers to come easily and integrate and develop apps on it. We would need, everybody spoke about the big data analytics. So at the end of the day, this entire mesh that we spoke about with the multi-device environment and the multi-application environment that is going to generate huge amount of data. If you remember my initial video, what did it say? That my energy consumption is based on my lifestyle pattern. Today I'm going to work, I'm turning off all my equipment at my home. The minute I want to come back home, I am enabling the things that are essential for me. So I am consuming X amount of energy. The rest of the money that I'm saving, I'm sending it to charity automatically. So how is that? And this is just from a consumer perspective. How about from the operator perspective? How about from a distributor perspective? How do you manage your grid? How do you bring efficiency within your grid? How do you manage the smart meters that are now going to be connected all over the world, and you can do starting from remote connection, disconnection, configuration, data collection, billing, quality of service, giving advantage back to your consumers in terms of rewards and penalties. All of that is data. How do you intelligently and real time process that data? one of my panelists also presented where he said, it is velocity, is the 3 V's, I think, is what you said. It's the velocity, the volume, and I'm forgetting the last one, variety. So that is exactly what is the case. So I'm going to conclude. It's pretty much going more into the data management part of it, but I'm just simply going to conclude. So again, the future doesn't just happen. It is more likely have to happen when more people believe in this future and work together to get there. So innovate and work out how to get to the network society along the way. Develop service management and in a collaborative environment. Convince partners across industries to get on board, because we are seeing the industry lines are getting blurred. Empowering operators to deliver integrated cloud connectivity and communication services, and advance from technology-centric to experience-centric managed delivery services. So that's my last slide, and we will go on to our Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharjee. I mean, as I quickly sum up, you can start thinking of the questions. That was our last speaker. So we heard from Ms. Bhattacharjee, who talked about the importance of persons connecting to change the world, and that was the phrase she used. We saw a very interesting video about the possibilities that the world can present, and some of these, she said, are already reality. She talked about not only having a network of devices connected, but people actually taking advantage of these to make a difference to their lives, and the changing roles of the service providers that will make this possible, and the corresponding changes in the infrastructure. On a lighter note, I think Ms. Bhattacharjee was talking about how some of the previous speakers had stolen her thunder, but maybe some of the future that she talked about is already happening. Maybe the previous speakers were thinking ahead and solve some of our problems by making those points in advance. So maybe people are beginning to take advantage of these connections between ourselves. So, and she concluded by saying that the future will happen when people believe in it and come together to create these solutions that will make this connected world possible. Thank you. So with that, we will open up for Q&A. We can spend, we can have some mics. I'm sure there will be many questions, because this was a very interesting discussion.
First of all, compliments to all the speakers for a very, very interesting session. Extremely intriguing. But one question I would like to ask for everybody. Don't you think in the Indian context, this kind of a development, what are we doing to, I don't know whether we are bridging the digital divide or we are widening the digital divide, and consequently the financial divide in the country?
So to be honest, I think that's a philosophical question. That's not merely a technological question. There are fallouts and implications which are far beyond technology, and I do appreciate your concern about those sides. But IT, if anything, if you look at our last 10 to 15 years, 20 years journey, IT has been a big level. Today, your shopper also uses a mobile to stay connected with his family and with his children. His ability to mind his near and dear ones is pretty much as much as you and I have. So I think technology, when it reaches a maturity, will level the differences that exist today. But to start with, probably the divide will be visible. I think one of the great uses of technology is to bridge this divide, not to create one.
I think a lot of things are happening where these technologies are being used quite effectively. I was just talking to Cisco last week, and they were talking about how they have a platform called Seed, which is essentially a distance learning platform. They are training 800 nurses in Bihar from Johns Hopkins University. These nurses were not able to learn anything before. They were all in remote villages, but now they are being taught quite effectively, and the pass percentages of these people who used to go into nursing development is now at 70-80%. Earlier they were like 1 or 2%. That is the rate at which people used to grasp what was going on, and now they don't have to travel. So if you think about effective use, and what does it require? It requires a platform, it requires a network, it requires knowledge. The problem we have got is this knowledge. Teachers, our doctors, people who are knowledgeable are few. the people who need these services are far off and they are not being able to do it. So we have to take technology and networks and put them together such that the knowledge is now being able to disseminate that same knowledge into lots of people who are then going to go and help a lot more people in the bottom of the pyramid. So technology will be useful, and it is going to change the economy. It is going to change the economy at the grassroots level, and which already has in many ways. The mobile phone network changed the economy in many ways, but now when we see data flowing down to the lowest level, that is when real transformation will happen in India, where people are going to start having access to doctors, teachers, healthcare, financial services, banks. So the new banks which are coming up, you will not believe it, they are thinking completely integrating, and they're going to have small people running branches in villages. They're talking to us to see how can we put a 4G enabled network to enable these branches. Now guess what? That is going to impact the bottom of the pyramid. That is going to change the financial structure of people having access to financial services.
If anyone wants to add?
Sir, this is addressed to Mr. Parekh from Oracle. You had mentioned about the cloud, and very quickly, very fast, you mentioned about the private cloud. Now, what exactly did you mean by that? The private cloud operating within your own premises or controlled outside?
Thank you, sir. What I was referring
If it's a
to-
private, if it's in your own premises, it won't be a cloud.
We are talking about customers building their own cloud in their device. And what it means is, suppose you have 1,000 servers today running variety of databases, different databases, servicing your own company employees and the customers. You can bring it together. It's a strategy for consolidation. When you bring it together,
Those 100 servers are all networked, talking to each other.
they're all networked with all suboptimal utilizations. So each single piece of equipment servicing a particular application is not optimized. It's either stressed beyond where it should be operating, or it is underutilized. What we are saying is, a private cloud gives you an ability to consolidate this infrastructure and do two things. Take cost out of this operation and improve your SLA to your end customers. And Oracle has technology today across the infrastructure layer so that you can start transforming your internal data center infrastructure into a private cloud. Hope that answers it.
A little more detail, but
I'll get with you, sir, after the session, if you have this.
Yeah, the question is directed to Mr. Kashnavich. You had mentioned about healthcare, the smart card, and it's a great thing for any consumer or the patient to have all the details in one chip. But the problem that is being faced in my mind is the collaboration. It's not, suppose the Apollo doesn't collaborate with Fortis, and you can go and get a test in Apollo, and if you go to Fortis will not able. So the question is it going to happen in the near future? Secondly, is there any smart card available which cuts across service provider's boundary?
Yeah, to answer your second question, no, I'm not aware. Anything beyond which is a group, you can obviously carry a Apollo card or a Fortis card and move across the country. I think, there is this lot of resistance of allowing this patient data to move across health providers. And as I talk to people, it is not just commercial, which we typically feel. It is a lot to do with the service provider or the doctor's ownership of the patient. Because this resistance is there even in the hospitals, missionary hospitals are where patients are treated for free. They feel I'll do a procedure and the patient go away. Not just go away means they get treated somewhere else or some tertiary hospital which I don't know, and they feel connected. And from that perspective, there's a lot of resistance to share any data. That's the reality. Having said that, I think today hospitals are also facing the challenge. See, the big change which is happening in India from healthcare perspective is that insurance companies today are bleeding and they are getting cross-subsidized by other insurance business. It's a matter of 2 to 3 years when they will really come back to make their P&L red to black, and I suspect that the premiums which are abysmally low today by any standard will really go up substantially, and that's where hospitals will really start looking at every nook and corner. Today hospitals are very profitable business. Year-on-year growth of 30%, EBITDA of 50%. Any reasonable hospital is achieving that. That will come under pressure maybe in 3 to 5 years time, and that's where they will be interested to look at where they can optimize, and this can be a significant saving. Just imagine billion people, 20 minutes, you have 5 people sitting there in the front office, and every time people are coming and feeding the data. In terms of interest, I think I have seen a lot of interest in the small and very small hospitals to have something like that, because they really struggle to have manpower, and this can easily be implemented for below poverty line patients, and linking it to UID. There's a lot of uncertainty about UID in between right now that of course the new government has also accepted. The UHID can very easily be linked to individual, and much of the data which you collect in a hospital can be collected straight away from the UID. Of course there are certain technical issues, and it can be a device which can help people move from semi-primary healthcare to primary healthcare to community healthcare to district hospital to tertiary care, and that itself will substantially save the cost. This is my thought, but I think there is no clear answer like any complex problem.
I think you asked one, just to add to that, you asked the question of, is there a smart card available which will store everything? It is never going to be the smart card storing everything. It is going to be the smart card storing only your identity, and the rest of it is in the cloud. Now the problem that you will face is that many of these centers are not connected to anything today. They are just not connected. So even if you go to the other center, they will not be able to pull this information from the cloud to access it. So it will require this interconnection between the information which is on the cloud. Cloud means it is there and stored in one place, and everybody is contributing data to this thing, whatever you want to call it. So the electronic medical record collection is happening in bits and pieces by everybody now. The question of standardization that you talked about, in what format is it being stored, can we bring it together? The resistance is there on that standardization. There is a resistance of pulling it together, but there are at least 6 startups that I know of in Mumbai alone, forget about the other in Bangalore and in Delhi, where people have started this system of standardizing and putting it together. It will take time, but at the same time we will need to have robust networks which connects the hospitals, the doctors, the thing. It's a distribution problem actually. Somebody has to go out in the street and talk to everybody and make them all come together. It is not a question of technology not being, it is technologically very possible, it is done today.